First of all, let me start by saying thank you, Jesus. I am praising God today that Brittney Griner is coming home after 9 months of being held political prisoner and wrongfully detained in Russia in a prisoner swap. I have to say, we did it, Joe. Thank you, Joe Biden, President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, the entire team, and everybody who tirelessly advocated for her safe return. We are so grateful for that. But I do have to address the naysayers, and I'm going to try to get through this video without cussing because I'm not trying to get flagged. I want the information to get out there. All of a sudden now, everybody's a doggone foreign policy expert. They're a Russia expert. They're a Russian prisoner expert. Everybody know everything. Let's start off with Victor Bout. I know that a lot of y'all done heard the term merchant of death, and y'all done caught on to it. Now you think you're an expert. But let's be very clear about a couple of things. Number one, Victor Bout was getting out of jail anyway. He was not in jail for murder. He was not in jail for a life sentence. He had a 25-year sentence. He had already been in jail since 2010, and he was getting out according to the Bureau of Prisons in 2029. Do the math. We was a couple weeks away from 2023. That's 6 years earlier. And that still wouldn't have been his full sentence even if he had stayed there to 2029. So any notion that we're letting go of somebody who wasn't already going to get out of jail anyway in the relatively near term is stupid and ignorant. And let me also say, oh, he's an arms dealer. And what? Do you guys think that with the trillions of dollars that we spend in defense, that we can't handle one funky ass prisoner that's being sent back to Russia? Be for real. Be for real. What we really need to be worried about instead of Victor Bout taking his stupid ass back to Russia is the fact that we have guns in schools, guns in grocery stores, guns in nightclubs, guns in movie theaters, guns in Walmart, guns every damn where. Shooting up kids, shooting up grandmas, shooting up gays, shooting up Jewish people, shooting up black people, shooting up everybody. That's what we need to be more concerned about than Victor Bout. If you haven't said the words Konstantin Yareshenko, then you don't have no business commenting on Victor Bout. Because I didn't hear none of this energy, none of this evaluation about the merits of the swap when Konstantin Yareshenko, who was in jail for a 20-year sentence for $100 million cocaine, was traded for Trevor Reed. And I know one of the things y'all like to say, well, arms dealer for a person in weed. Okay, well, what do you think about a person who was basically in jail for disorderly conduct, which is what Trevor Reed was, being swapped for a person with $100 million of cocaine? I didn't hear any of this evaluation happening then. It's almost like you guys don't understand that we're dealing with a brutal dictatorship, a murderous dictatorship that's currently slaughtering civilians in Ukraine with a war. It's almost like y'all don't understand that. You think that we got some weed dealer in a Chicago prison to go hand over in exchange for Brittney Griner? Be for real. But at the end of the day, now all of a sudden, when a black woman is being released, now all of a sudden everybody want to do all this evaluation. Y'all full of shit. Okay? But the bottom line is this. If you want to talk about fair, which is a very strange concept to me, because now all of a sudden motherfuckers care about fair. As if it's ever been fair to be black in America. As if it's ever been fair to be black in Russia. Now all of a sudden we talk about fair, fair, fair. If you want to talk about fair, then you need to look at what kind of deal was made for Brittney Griner as opposed to what kind of deal was made for Trevor Reed or other political prisoners. If you look at them, they're right in the same boat. So I don't even know what you're talking about, something being unfair. And to the extent that it is unfair, that's on Putin. And the fact that we're dealing with a psychotic, brutal, murderous dictator. That's on him. So, if you want to volunteer your stupidity, if you want to volunteer your ignorance, if you want to volunteer your hatred of black women, that's fine. Just keep it real. Just put it out there. Don't try to sugarcoat it. Don't try to make it seem like you have an actual substantive basis for being against this deal, because none of this energy, none of this discussion took place when Trevor Reed was released. And I will also add that not nary a person said that Trevor Reed shouldn't be released because Paul Whelan wasn't being released. And Trevor Reed and Paul Whelan were both in jail when Trump was president. So now all of a sudden, when it's the black woman being released, then it's, well, why wasn't Paul Whelan included? Well, why don't you ask Vladimir Putin that? Why don't you ask him that? Because he's the one holding him prisoner. Not Joe Biden, not Brittney Griner.